Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to Flames Pyro Art for Beginners. We're looking at the Wolf series in the study group. In this little adventure we've got going on, I'm still building some of the mass of my wolf. I will just quickly take you through some of what I've been doing to create my wolf, just for anybody who maybe hasn't done this type of work before. What we want to do when we're creating like something with realism, we want to create the depth and flow of the subject matter we're doing. So let's take this wolf for example. Now we know the wolf has not got a pancake flat face, has he? You know, he's got a snout, he's got ears that further back on his head, you know, it domes up, you know, he's like us, you know, with the shape of our heads, but he's got a lot more fur and just different shaping. So we have to try and show the shapes and the depth and all the little ways his fur moves, and you know, all little things that can add pop to our art. So what I've been doing up here higher on my wolf was I'd been just simply layering up the fur. Now what you do, this takes patience, but you just follow the direction in which your fur is travelling. As you look at your reference image and you follow that direction. And when we think about a wolf, for example, a wolf hasn't got one layer of fur, has he? He's got many, many layers, because he lives in Alaska. He lives in the cold, you know, he lives in harsh environments. So he has a really thick coat. So we need to build up the thickness of the coat, and it'll take me some hours to layer over and over before I get to that final stage where I want to add this particular wolf's bits of colour that he's got. He's got some distinct darker streaks running through him. So further on I will do that, but I'll just show you for a quick 5 minutes in how we start layering up. So I'm using the large spade shader, which I found is a great pen for creating flicks of fur because of the sharp point on it. So what we'll do, I've got my heat setting at just over 3, which is just a medium heat for this pen. And what I'll basically do is I will build up a base coat of fur. So I'm looking at my reference picture, I'm seeing that I know the fur above his eyes goes across this way, and then when you get past his eyebrow, all the fur is travelling off towards the back of the head. So we simply just follow those fur lines. And it may not look like you're actually putting much shading down, but this is just one of many layers that you'll add to your wolf art if you want to create some real bulk and, mass to your wolf picture. Then you want to layer up the coats of fur, add a base coat. I like to add several coats, and really get him looking like he could just walk off the wood. So we'll turn the heat up just a touch. Always just gradually find your heat setting. Don't go at it like a bull in a china shop. Pyrography art is very much a patience art form. So we don't want to have our pens glowing red hot and scorching the wood, because then you just end up with a real mess on your canvas. So just inch your heat up little by little until you find that nice comfortable level, and as your pen warms up, over 5 or 10 minutes, you'll find a nice comfortable working balance for the pen. We know above the eye here all the fur is running off up the head, so we will just keep adding flicks of fur. Now the slower you go, if you watch, the darker the stroke. See, if I move really slowly, I will get a darker line. But I'll do that for a good couple of hours of just building and building his base coat. Then, so after we've completed a base coat and when you think you've got enough thickness down, then you can start looking to, add any of the distinct colours and patterns he's got in his magnificent coat. Wolves are absolutely beautiful animals. I wouldn't want to come across one in the wild, don't get me wrong, but they are beautiful animals. Now here's the thing. Now, on the reference photo, we can use like marker points for reference, okay? So we've got our eyes, and if we look at our reference photo, which I'm looking at my digital reference photo, I notice now that at the eye level, this fur starts to run off in a sideways direction. So if I turn my board so I can easily move in that direction, because I know all this fur is going to bunch off to the sides. So reading your fur and the direction it is going in really helps you to create magnificent pieces of pyrography out that will wow your friends and family. So we're always reading a reference photo, always looking at what the picture is telling us and seeing the picture in 3 dimensions rather than just a flat image. Around this area we've got some real long clumps of hair that I haven't made my way to yet. But on today's little lesson, it's for some of the members of the study group, and we're going to be looking at just negative wood burning around the muzzle. Now, negative wood burning is something we use when, say, we have a much lighter area, say we have like a white or a light area, or an area we want to pop forward, to make it look like it's coming out. If you think about this wolf's long snout, it doesn't sit like, say, like a Frenchie or whatever, it's long and protruding, isn't it? So we'll have a look at starting some of the negative wood burning around this snout and try and bring it forward. So one of the first things I would do is look to work around the border of the muzzle. So negative wood burning is where I've marked out where the mouth area is, and I've started doing little bits of work, but nowhere near finished with it yet, with a nose or anything like that. But underneath the mouth, the wolf has long hair, but we're not going to go into the really long hair today. We're just going to look at making this muzzle try and stand out more. So working beneath your line where you've marked your mouth area, and here's this bit of gum. So we've got reference points. We could see on our image that there was like a really dark patch there with a deep opening. So there's another good reference point. But in here, in this like sort of like little dip area, is where we want to start concentrating. Because if we think about it, this area here underneath the mouth is much further back than this part. This part here of the mouth is right near the front, nearest to your eye. So everything behind there has to go back. So hopefully you can see me on the camera. I always like to work on an angle. I apologise. I need to handwrite on an angle. I can't work with the board like straight. I don't know what it is with my wrists or something. I just can't do it. So I'm always on an angle, so I do apologise. Okay, so the technique of negative wood burning is the area that we want to have sitting forward. We negative wood burn, which is just wood burning beneath that muzzle and pushing all the fur back that is beneath the wolf's mouth. Now obviously there is some really lighter areas off here, but under the chin area we're still going to have to go darker than this to pop this muzzle out forward. And I don't want to go really far out with, you know, the darkest of tones, because I want to add some detail to my fur. So I'm just going to keep it tight around the muzzle at this point, around the mouth area. I'm not going to expand too far away. I'm just negative wood burning up to the edge. Because remember the saying that I've used before, the clean edge to value, where everything we do has to have a clean edge to value. So even the mouth must have a clean edge. I mean, you can obviously, when you haven't got, I've got the big clamp right over my head at the moment. I'm going to have to work out a new spot to put this clamp, because it's right in the way of me wanting to really get at the spot I want to work at properly, so I could really get my head over it and see it. So it's a little bit tricky with a camera as it is. We'll go for 20 odd minutes or so and just see if we can start to pop this muzzle out at all. I'll see if I can work around this camera setup and see what I can do. Now around the sides here of the muzzle as well, this is also a very important area. Any fur that is part of the face which would, you know, is going to carry on down with negative wood burn, because this is a whiter area of fur here. So obviously white fur, we don't want to wood burn it dark, do we? So we negative wood burn up to the edge of it again. And we look at which way the fur is going. We've got whiskers also here at this point. I mean, this is going to be a little tricky with this camera as it is, but I will try my best to redarken them in if it's not going to work. From this distance, my eyes aren't what they were. I think your eyesight goes a little bit when you're sat staring at close-up work so much all the time. It doesn't do your eyesight the best of good. Okay, and here again, this is the offside of the muzzle. I don't want to wood burn this too darkly. At this stage, and get myself into a corner that I get stuck in, so I'm going to keep it relatively light. I know members of the study group are itching for me to show them this longer hair below, but I'm going to need to move the camera so I can study the area. But for now, try and focus. If you're at the point where you've finished all the top of your wolf, try and just focus on working around that muzzle, and slowly but surely, as you work around it, you will pop the muzzle out. So negative wood burning is all about, instead of outlining, putting an outline around this mouth, we don't want to do that with realism, because a wolf doesn't walk around with an outline around his mouth, does he? So we add the fur in the background, set further back, and that then negative wood burns around the mouth, and it will make the mouth appear nearer to the eye. And as you progress down with your fur, it will become much more transparent what you're doing. For now, I'm just going to put some light strands of hair coming down, because I know I'm not going to do any damage to my own piece of pyrography art by doing this. Now, hopefully you've added yourself some marker points where there are clumps of fur amongst your lighter fur at the bottom, and I'll take you on a much more in-depth look underneath this chin once I finish building around the face more and I get this camera moved over. So I hope that's explained a little about negative wood burning, how we utilise the background to our effect to bring things forward. This area here, like I said, is white fur we don't want to outline it, so we look what's in the distance, what's beyond it, and we utilize that. And eventually over time you're going to have this muzzle that just pops forward at you. And down here he's got this saggy sort of lip area, hasn't he, that runs off round the side, which I haven't chased all mine all the way round yet. Been playing catch up, so they have several projects on the go, and however much I would love to just sit all day long wood burning, Mr. Wolf, trust me, I would love to sit all day and just wood burn a wolf. Sadly I can't do that. These little dots I've added are where his whiskers come out. Now ideally you could use a micro skew to get the whiskers in, because that would make them super fine. But I'm going to go back up higher on my wolf, and these eyes are not yet at their finished shading, but until I've got all my other values in, I will not know what the final tone of shading will be for my wolf's eyes. So I'll leave them at this point until I'm happy with everything else. Now the little key thing here, where this eyebrow, because all animals, they have this eyebrow here, and all this fur here along the eyebrow runs sideways as it comes out from like down the side here. It always runs like parallel. Then obviously at the side of it we show that little bit of mass to it. Now the fur that then starts to go sideways needs to be built up. So we need to add several layers to build up the depth, you know, of fur. If we just simply put one line down, you know, it won't show the massive coat that this wolf is wearing. So we need to add many layers. So if you haven't got patience, give pyrography 3 to 4 weeks of your life, and trust me, you will learn patience, because it is very much a patience art form. All art forms are patience art forms. You know, when you get to the more advanced levels of any art, it's all about patience. Unless you're supremely gifted, you know, you're going to spend quite a few hours on your piece of pyrography art. But if you enjoy what you're doing, then to my mind, Why rush? I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm loving wood burning Mr. Wolf, so I don't need to rush him because I'm loving what I'm doing. And we all have our own personal goals, that we want to hit with our pyrography art. My quest is realism. That is the quest I've been on for a year or more now, and the more and more I keep working at the images, the better I'm getting each time, until I can create a fully realistic looking piece of pyrography art. That is the goal. That's my goal that I've set myself. So set yourself a goal to work towards. I have a Facebook group called Pyrography for Beginners and Beyond by Flames Pyro Art. We've got a couple of thousand passionate pyrographers in the group where we teach pyrography and we knowledge share. We believe, or I believe, that knowledge sharing is a blessing and not something to make money out of people from. I'm blessed that I can share some of my knowledge with you. So, I would never ask you for a penny of your money. It's my honour and a blessing to be able to share the skills that I've acquired over time. And so the Facebook group is a great way to learn more about pyrography. We run monthly competitions and have lots of fun, and there's some amazing pyrographers in the group. We have group experts along with myself. There are a few other group experts who are supreme wood burners that you would not believe, how good wood burning can be until you see some of these pieces of art. So you just pop along to Facebook, find Pyrography for Beginners and Beyond by Flames Pyro, answer the few simple questions and agree to our rules, because we want to make sure we only get wood burners in the group and no trolls or idiots. We do police the group quite heavily in regards to, we do not tolerate anyone like sort of dissing or knocking anybody else's piece of art. Everybody started off as a learner, so there is no mocking, there is no judging. It's just a wonderful space for passionate pyrographers or new pyrographers to come along and learn more about our magical art form. And so I'll keep working away at Mr. Wolf, and once I've moved this camera to another space so it's not in my way, I can then show you this longer mane that runs off down this wolf. So if you just give me a little bit more time, another day or two, I will get to that. But make a start with your negative burning. Make your muzzle really pop forward, because in real life, trust me, that nose is nowhere near the eyes, it is much further forward. So that's what we have to imagine when we see an image. Read the image and think to yourself, right, if that wolf was sat there now in front of me, staring me in the eyes, thinking how tasty I would be for tea, you would see his long nose and all of his features and his head contouring off. And so that's how we need to read our reference pictures. So that's another little tip for you, is try and imagine in your mind's eye, right, if that wolf was sat in front of me, how would his nose and all his head look? You know, how would all the contours and the ridges, how would they all flow to make up the wolf? And that's basically the secret, is reading the image, looking beyond the one dimension and looking at it three-dimensionally. Okay, so I hope that's helped a little about negative wood burning and using things behind certain areas, like certainly like the offside of the muzzle is a great example. You know, we want to really pop this muzzle forward, so the offside near the edge will go darker and we'll bring that muzzle out, and as I add more fur here, you will really start to see this muzzle lift up more and more, and that's a magical part of pyrography that I absolutely love. I just love it when you create something and you can see all of a sudden things lifting up and all the shapes and contours of everything. It's just a beautiful art form, something I'm just so passionate about, and I'm so blessed and honoured to be able to share my passion with you. I would ask one little favour in return. All I ask of people is, if you are kind enough and you get to this point of the video, if you would just leave me a comment every once in a while. It helps the channel to be displayed on YouTube. Not that I'm in it for the money, but it'll help to reach more pyrographers who may be starting out on the journey and, you know, want to learn from a different source. And I certainly work differently to a lot of the other pyrography teachers on YouTube. So if you'd leave me a comment, smash a like, but definitely comments would be very much appreciated, guys. Just to let me know that I'm talking to people and, you know, you talk back to me. Let me know things that you struggle with, things that you would like to have tutorials done of. You know, I'm more than happy to help anybody and everybody in the pyrography community, but you just need to shout up, say hello, and we can take it from there. Okay guys, so I shall end the video there. Thank you very much for spending your time with me today, and I'll see you in the next adventure of Mr. Wolf. Okay, take care for now, guys. Much love to everybody. This is Flames Pyro Art, So
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me. And what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me.